Good evening, children. Now I am going to start a new topic which is under Unit 7 Genetics and Evolution. The major heading is Genetic Evolution. It is Unit 7, and under which there are 3 chapters which we are going to see. The first chapter under Unit 7 is Chapter 5, Principles of Inheritance and Evolutions. So this is what we are going to see. When you see this topic, there are 2 words that we have to understand: inheritance and variation. What is inheritance? You see, we have seen the basics of reproduction. A parent produces offspring of its own type, of its own. An elephant produces elephant, a dog produces the dog. Then that we have to see, that is passed from the parent to the offspring. Some characters are passed, and that is called inheritance. But among the same family, there are 2-3 children, each one is different. That means the combination of mixing of genes are different, so that makes some differences, that we call it as variation. So study about this inheritance and variation is called genetics. So the topic is genetics, is study about inheritance and variations. So this is chapter 5, under which we are going to see the following things. First, we are going to see Mendel is the one who shown interest in discovering this topic, genetics. He is father of genetics. He is actually a math teacher who is a naturalist, and he is a priest who done a lot of experiments in plants, especially in pea plants, in a garden pea plants. So he has invented many things, and that we are going to see as a 5.1 Mendel's law of inheritance. I am going to give only introduction. The second, after that law of inheritance, we are going to study about inheritance of one gene. So this is the topic, inheritance of one gene. So by which Mendel discovered 2 laws, and later it is called inheritance of 2 genes. He found out the 3rd law. Then inheritance by chromosome, polygenetic inheritance, pleiotropy are the other 3 types of inheritance which we are going to see under this heading 5.3. Then 5.4, it is about sex determination, how sex is determined in human as well as in bees. Then mutation. Mutation is nothing but sudden change which takes place in the genes or chromosomes. So as I said, genes are chromosome. That means 2 possibilities. One, the sudden change may take place in a gene, or a sudden change may take place in a chromosome. Based on that, we are going to see some disorders caused due to these changes. That is called a genetic disorder. So genetic disorder in gene, if it is called a gene disorder, genetic disorder in chromosome, it is chromosomal disorder. This is what the next topic which we are going to see, by which the chapter 5 will be over. Now I am going to give, we are going to see the 5.1 law of inheritance. What is law of inheritance? Already I told you, genetics is the branch of biology which deals with inheritance and variation. Now we are going to see how Mendel has done his work. So we are going to see the Mendel's law of inheritance. See, he is called John Gregor Mendel in the year 1856 to 1863. All his research work was released during this, and this we call it as law of inheritance. His findings are called law of inheritance. And how he did the experiment, I said he is a father, and he was priest in a church, and he was maintaining his home garden. Home garden, by which he used to plant lot of pea plants, pea seeds, by which he find out something unique, something new by his observation. And basically he is a math teacher, a nature lover. Because of these two characters, being a math teacher and a nature lover, we got a new branch called genetics. He used maths as well as his science knowledge and made one subject. Very first time he used maths in the science. So that is what this subject is very unique. And how he did, no? He did some experiments. He did some experiments using these pea plants, and how he did is self-pollination. Continuous self-pollination, and by artificial method. Because he want result, so he used artificial method by mixing various pollen grains. And he selected a pea plant, and he selected 14 varieties. Of which he selected 7 traits. Traits are nothing but characters. And what are the traits he has selected? He has selected 1 from the stem, 2, 3 from flower, 4 and 5 from the pod, 6 and 7 from a seed. So 1 from a stem, the 2 traits from flowers, 2 from pod and 2 from, and what are the, he has selected the height of the plant, the stem height. And flower, he has selected whether it is a violet flower or white flower. And in the flower, he has also selected the other characters like the presence, position, whether it is in the axial or a terminal. Then pod. In both he has selected position and color. This is color, this is position. Here also he has selected color, position. And seed, color, shape. Color and shape. So, if you see the color of the pod, green color, yellow color. Color of the seed, yellow and green is opposite. And pod, inflated, bulged, constricted pod. Seed, round seed or wrinkled. These are the 7 characters he has selected to do the research. So what he did actually is, what is this trait? We will see what is a trait means. Trait is a character. So what he has selected, suppose we see the height. Height is a trait. And how this height is measured in a plant, some plants he has seen tall, some are dwarf, very short and tall. So these are the 2 characters of one trait. So he called these character, expression of the character as called allele. Allele. So for every character, how many alleles? 2 alleles. So for every character, there are 2 alleles. The height has 2 alleles called tall and dwarf. Like that, we have seen various alleles in the same topic. You see height, tall, dwarf. Like a flower color, violet and white. Axial, terminal, green, yellow, inflated, constricted, round, wrinkled, yellow, green. These are the alleles of this particular character. So they use the name allele. Alleles are the names. What he did is, he has identified true parents by lot of research. So he used a variety of experiments by which he find out the true parents. So the first research he did was on the height. And how he denoted, using his mathematics, he found out when he crossed a tall plant with the dwarf plant, a purely dwarf plant. In the first generation, he found all tall plants. So he want to know why this particular character is not expressed in this first generation. First generation, he called it as first filial. That's why it's called F1 generation. All are tall. Then what he did is, he has taken this plant. So this is purely tall, this is purely dwarf. And he called this plant as a hybrid. Then he crossed the hybrids. Another hybrid. Then he found out the result in the next generation. 3 tall plants is to 1 dwarf plant. So he found out this. Then using this, he came to know certain characters are passed from parents from one generation to the next generation. Certain characters are not coming out in one generation, but whereas the same character is here, what is missing? This dwarf is missing here, but again the dwarf is coming out. So he said, then this character is passing from generation to generation, and that he call it as law of inheritance. Inheritance is characters are passed from one generation to the other generation. So this is about the introduction. Now we will move on to inheritance by one gene. Inheritance by one gene, which we are going to see in the next video. Just go through this basics, and it's an introduction. Then immediately followed by this, I am going to take the next topic, this one. Thank you, children. Thank you.